Hi, I'm Tim Newburn, the director of Cypress Independent. We are here at the Southwest Power Regional in Denton, Texas, and Cypress Independent's 2019 show is entitled On Foggy Streets. The show began based off of a runway piece put together for the 2009 menswear collection of Alexander McQueen. He essentially just created a space that was very much influenced heavily by Lower East Side London, Victorian era common street people, so butchers and thugs and shipping yard guys, and it had such a very unique look to it. And even the models, it sort of transcended fashion, and we got really excited by that. We did a lot of research into the collection, and then we were like, well, isn't that what we're trying to do in Color Guard, is transform an audience outside of the gym? And so rather than try to put together a narrative or just do some more Color Guard to piano music, we decided that we wanted to be a little bit more accessible to the fan base. And so we would try doing a scene and a character study. So there's not a particular narrative for you to follow through. And that's why we decided to call it On Foggy Streets, because even though we were really inspired by Victorian era London, Whitechapel, and the like, we wanted you not to have to think too much about Jack the Ripper or any specific thing you might know about that specific time and place. We wanted to try to make something that was influenced aesthetically by that, but was sort of timeless. What really just a character study of how these people would interact in different situations in this particular environment. So the show opens with, morning and the church bells sort of going off and what would happen in that scenario early in the day, and quickly gets into something that's very hustle and bustle. How people would interact on the street if they were being mischievous, or if, someone was bothering them, or if they were excited to see someone, or if they were a shopkeeper, or whatever it might be. And then try to use that motivation to influence the choreography beyond what's on the back of the sheets. So we still have to do our backhands and our behind the backs and under the legs and in our ears, but can we do that and still tell you something about this person? This person is in a gang of dudes that's going down the street and they're being super impish, very mischievous, if you will. And then what happens as the day goes on and the sun starts to set and these streets become very different. You're looking down dark alleyways, you might be more fearful in terms of how you operate in the street. People might actually be more brave to come out and do some shenanigans that they necessarily wouldn't get away with during the day. How does that interact, that nightlife interact on these streets when the lights go down and the fog comes up, so to speak? And then, the intensity of people interacting in a very different way carries us into the end of the show. It's kind of a basic outlay. Again, we didn't really want to tell a narrative, but we wanted to explore character because we really wanted to focus on elevating our choreography through character, not just skills. And so we thought this would be the perfect vehicle for us to do that. In trying to create something that was accessible for the audience, because we're really well known for being super intellectual and avant-garde, and it's difficult sometimes for our fan base to connect to the product. And so that was something that we wanted to, it's our 10-year anniversary this year, and it's sort of our gift back to our public and our fan base, to create something that was easier for them to enjoy. But in doing that, it was also a lot easier for the cast to connect to it. And so now they're not just worried about releasing on 7 and, but it's easier for them to also focus on bringing this person to life. We've been doing a lot of character study and a lot of journaling. They have character names. They go through scenarios, whatever particular section of the show we're going to work on during the week. They do homework for the week going into that about who their person, who their character is during that scene. How would they encounter other people now that they know their show? What does that mean? So we talk about using the skills to bring their character to life, as opposed to just not being late to count 7, whatever that might be. So that's really helped them, I think, explore a whole other end of performance. And I think that they are getting that reaction back. We try to build a home, an environment at Cypress that is based on mutual respect. And so I think our cast enjoys the process, and so we have a large return rate. So that certainly helps us do more advanced training, because the longer that we can keep them all together, that helps them be able to understand each other better. but everything is a amalgamation of the talent that walks in the door and the teachers who are helping to mold them, and then how you give them a vehicle to be able to use those skills and use those talents. And we really try to showcase the depth of our cast and not, have it be, this show is about Andrew or whoever it is, and let everybody sort of come into the forefront and showcase their better talents. And so that's one of the goals always from a staging standpoint. And I think the cast really appreciates that. Yeah, 3 weeks left. Everybody always wants more time. Everybody's cleaning, obviously. One of the things we have been talking about a lot the last couple of weeks is as we continue to clean, we're trying to focus on firing on all cylinders. So every rep, it's, did you focus on your tendencies? Were you able to correct those? You know what those are by this point in the season. You're always high on that toss or slow to count 7 or, whatever it might be. Your foot's never pointed on this part. So you have to use that part of your brain, but then are you also, we've been talking a lot about trying to transcend color guard performance. So it's not just trying to reach to the top of the box, but it's trying to story tell, although it's not necessarily narrative, but are you really trying to convey your character to someone so that an audience understands who that person is, what they're experiencing in that moment. And so we try to make our reps as well blended as possible. So the staff is giving information on all cylinders, so there's an expectation of the performer to be firing on all cylinders. We're really fortunate in our circuit, TCGC, woo, go TCGC, that our championships is in a big arena as well, so that provides us with another opportunity to try to take all of that emotion and try to get it all the way to top of a big venue. That's certainly the goal when we roll into UD Arena. And then we don't really focus on numbers or placements or any of that. We're really about making sure that we're doing everything we can to be undeniable so we get 3 runs. And then our second goal is always, can we make those runs be 1, 2, 3 exactly the same? The goal isn't to save it all for finals night. The goal is to roll in there and lay down 3 exact performances back to back. And that's sort of the focus we have with the members. And I think that keeps them in a narrow frame of mind with something that they can control the outcome of. Because at the end of the day, they're not like, ooh, if we're 6th, we're great, but if we're 7th, we're terrible, They're rolling in there and they're like, this is something I control. Can I be great? Can I be emotional? Can I be technically accurate? Can I do my job? And I think that educationally that's a lot more sound. And the whole reason we started Cypress was to teach teachers. We felt like a decade ago there was a deficit of, there's a lot of great jobs in Texas, which we're so fortunate, to have these paraprofessional positions, but there weren't a ton of educators to fill those positions. So first sentence in our mission statement is to teach teachers. And so if we're not approaching WGI Week in an educational way and only a competitive way, then we're not doing our job. Well, I mean, the 10-year anniversary is crazy for a lot of reasons. I mean, who would have thought it, We're super grassroots. We were literally born on a bus because, some other really talented of a world-class age members, their color guard couldn't get down the road. And so I'm like, hey, hop on our bus, go with us. And we spent the trip talking about the need for teaching teachers in the Houston area especially. And so we were born literally on that bus. So to think that it's something that still is going, there's still a need for it, there's still a desire of young people to have a place where they can do continuing education. If World Class does its job right, it basically is color guard college. We should be turning these younger educators out into the world better prepared to take on these jobs, these para jobs. And it's very cool to be at a regional and see so many alumni who are doing their thing with their group and in such a positive way, not just competitively, but how their students behave in the hallway and outside at loading and, how they already convey a sportsman-like conduct, and they're growing the community. Like, that's the future. So for me, that's the biggest perk. It's like I've done something for the last 10 years along with my staff that we can be super proud of, and most of that isn't the art or the number or the, great catch on a video. Are there even videos anymore? But it's like, but is that seeing that ripple effect in the educational community. And I'm super proud of that. And hopefully there's 10 more.